What it do, cooks? It's your boy, the Hater, and today we're going to do a video about Bobby Lashley. I will eventually do a wrestler review of Bobby Lashley. This is not that video. This is a simple video about the screw job that Lashley has faced. Now, one of my fans, correctly pointed out that this is not the big injustice that everyone is pretending it is. They're right. It's the same thing with the Hurt Business, right? Now, people like me like Bobby Lashley, but this does not erase the fact that Bobby Lashley is boring. Am I right? Bobby Lashley has never cut a promo that was good enough to save his life. Bobby Lashley is relatively boring in the ring. He's got some good moves, but now he's just one of these like spear spine buster wrestlers, I call them, you know? Just like we have the Samoan moveset, we have the people that do the spine buster and the spear, like Batista, right? But Batista also did the Batista bomb, and he was cool. So Lashley doesn't really get a reaction, right? Like, nobody really cares about Lashley. So, you know, to an extent, it's like, all right, we get it. Like, we're not going to just push this guy just because the Hater and 5 other people like him, right? Enough people have to like you, right? That's why LA Knight, for example, should be pushed above Lashley because people actually like him and he has some good qualities. But this doesn't excuse the way that Lashley has been treated, right? I'm not saying anymore that Lashley needs to be in the main event, but I cannot fathom why Lashley wouldn't, at minimum, be in like a positive Braun Strowman-esque role, right? Have him get beat even, right? I don't care if Damian Priest beats Lashley in a competitive match, because at least that puts Damian Priest over, because Lashley is a 2-time, relatively recent world champ. With all this being said, where is he, right? Rumor has it that Lashley is going to leave the WWE. I don't know what that entails for the Street Profits. I think they're already moved on, but they're like jobbers that nobody cares about. It's like they feud with like Elton Prince and like Kit Wilson, you know, like who gives a shit anymore, right? A lot of people also said, oh, my take on Montez Ford is crazy. No, it isn't crazy. No, it isn't crazy. And this brings me to another point that I wanted to talk about within this video, actually, right? There is an element of race involved here, right? A lot of people believe that Triple H doesn't like black wrestlers, right? And if you look at the track record, you wouldn't be surprised by that, because it's like no black wrestlers have gotten pushed. A lot of people are pointing to Vince McMahon pushing Lashley, etc., right? And therefore Triple H is somehow a racist. Now, I don't know the man called Triple H, also known as Paul Levesque. I don't know him, so I'm not going to speculate as to what his opinions are. And quite frankly, I think anybody that does that is not being genuine, right? I don't think Triple H is a racist. I have no reason to believe that he is. And the fact that black wrestlers aren't getting pushed is not a sign of racism, right? This is a problem. A lot of people are afraid to they tiptoe around this, and they're afraid to say it like it is, right? Not everything is racism, dumb fucks. For example, if I, a white man, prefers Randy Orton to Montez Ford, that's not because I'm a racist. That's because Randy Orton is cool and Montez Ford sucks ass. You see what I'm saying? Not every kind of explanation needs to have a racial element to it, right? There is this weird thing that people are afraid to say and they are afraid to do. And that thing is called saying bad things about people of different races. This is especially true with whites and Asians, I've noticed, right? Other people have no problem at all saying that this guy's white and that's why he got on top, right? White people don't really say things like, Montez sucks and he's black, right? They'll be like, oh, Montez deserves a push because, equality and all this other stupid shit. No, motherfuckers. This is not a meritocracy in terms of athleticism and sports, but it is a meritocracy in terms of your ability to entertain, right? And to perform. So I personally believe, I'm going to say it like it is, I don't give a flying fuck. Say it like it is. I think that AEW wanted to have a first black champion to make a point out of it, right? Because I don't think that Swerve Strickland is good enough to be world champion. What do you think of them apples, right? Likewise, I think AEW wanted to have a transgender wrestler in Nyla Rose because Nyla Rose is not entertaining at all. Now, it's more excusable for Nyla Rose because the entire women's division is largely boring. The men's division, the standard is much higher. So, Swerve Strickland, whatever the fuck his name is in AEW, I never got it right. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve anything. He obviously is a decent wrestler, but he's not world championship material, right? And in order to placate the people that have some weird inferiority complex when the things that they want don't happen, they gave the people, quote unquote, what they wanted, right? Now, Lashley is the closest thing we have in WWE to this situation, right? The presumption is that there's no other explanation as to why Lashley is not being put on TV other than racism, right? You would think, and I like Lashley, motherfuckers, believe me, so it pains me to say this, but you would think that Lashley is fucking stone cold. He's not stone cold. Yeah, he's better than Omos, Braun Strowman, MVP, right? But he's not even, I wouldn't even put him in the category of Kane, right? Like Kane is a better and more compelling wrestler, right? Lashley is crazy athletic, right? But in my opinion, the fact that he's black has nothing to do with him being held down. Now, I know some of you are going to disagree, right? And some of you really believe it. But some of the people that are going to stumble upon this video, are going to basically go into this like race baiting type thing, right? Where basically the assumption is anytime a white wrestler succeeds, it's because they're white. And anytime a black wrestler fails, it's because they're black. Now, I'm not saying there's none of that going on, right? Like I said, I don't know Triple H, but we cannot assume that, right? We can assume that in very, very, very limited circumstances. For example, I concede. I think that Dolph Ziggler having a much better career than, let's say, Cedric Alexander is a byproduct of Dolph Ziggler being white. I can't think of another reason why Dolph Ziggler would get a bigger push than Cedric Alexander, because in my opinion, they both suck, right? In my opinion, Dolph Ziggler has never cut a good promo, except for that It Should Have Been Me promo. That was pretty good. But, you give someone 100 chances, they're going to hit one out of the park, right? But that's an example of that, right? But, Bobby Lashley having a Chris Masters style career, right? One's white, one's black, is acceptable. Because Bobby Lashley is not much better than Chris Masters, right? There's nothing that Chris Masters did that Bobby Lashley didn't do. There's nothing that anyone can point to and say, wow, this thing about Lashley is awesome. The only thing that came as a success for Lashley was just the booking, right? They started booking him as a monster, which was a good idea because Lashley rules, in my opinion. But that's the difference between me and a lot of people. I can take the things that I like and separate them from subjectivity, right? Sometimes we like things and we don't really understand why. We just like them because they remind us of something great. Or I like, for example, the effort that Lashley and Chris Masters put into their physiques. But I don't like Chris Masters. I like Lashley more. I don't know why, motherfucks. Maybe it's the name. I don't know. I don't care. The point is, we have to take that away from the objectivity of wrestling, right? You can make an argument, for example, that Booker T was held down because he was black. I don't think it's a strong argument because I think he was held down because he was a WCW guy. But nevertheless, that's a much stronger argument than Lashley has been held down because he's black. Or even worse, I'm hearing people that are like, oh, if Montez was white, he would get pushed. No, he wouldn't. If Montez was white, he would be fucking Nathan Frazier and nobody would give a shit about him, just like they don't give a shit about him now. The point I'm trying to make here is this. If you guys want to live in a good world of good versus evil and not black versus white and brown versus yellow, well, I guess I shouldn't say yellow, that's probably racist somehow, right? But you know what I'm saying. If you want to live in a world where we're not looking at people for their color, you have to be part of the solution, right? You cannot blame every failure on someone like Montez Ford, on Triple H must be a racist. Like, you have to consider the possibility that people like the hater were right about him and the fact that he sucks ass, right? Just like I was right about Karrion Kross. He's white. Everyone thought he was going to be this big star. I said he wasn't, right? And look at him now. Because you have to have the correct attributes, right, to be a star. I will concede. It's obviously more difficult to be the face of the WWE if you're not white, right? There are exceptions, and those are like pretty much The Rock and Roman Reigns. Nobody else has been the face of WWE that hasn't been white, right? To be fair, there's only been like 5 or 6 faces of WWE, really. So, but you understand what I'm saying, right? You need to have a lot going for you, right? And I'm not saying that Lashley has a lot more than Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns does have a few more things than Lashley. Primarily the fact that Roman Reigns is a very attractive man, and as a result, he's much more marketable than Lashley, who is not an ugly guy by any stretch of the imagination. He just does not have the movie star looks that someone like Roman Reigns has or that Randy Orton has or something like that, right? He's not at that level. He's like, obviously Lashley's a good-looking dude, you know, especially considering his physique. But you understand what I'm getting at, right? You can't just point to everything and say, racism. Oh, he got held back because he's black. Oh, he got pushed because he's white. Oh, WWE never pushes Japanese wrestlers. Yeah, they don't. But it's also a fact of life that Japanese wrestlers are complete garbage in WWE. They're all shit. Why should Nakamura get a bigger push than he got? Why? Because you like him, right? I like Lashley. I don't think he should get a push. I like fucking, let's see, who do I like? I like Jack Gallagher, right? I don't think he should get a push. I thought Evan Bourne was cool. He's not going to get a push. I like Cedric Alexander, who I bring up all the time. Doesn't mean he's going to get a push. You know? I still think he deserves one, but, you know, I understand why he's not getting one, right? My concern is this. If I see, like, Cedric Alexander, Nathan Frazier, Mustafa Ali, any of the people of that category, the ones that I like the most are Cedric Alexander and, like I've said before, Raul Mendoza. Those are the ones that I like. So I'm like, if you're going to push a random, like, Hispanic wrestler, right, like Andrade, just push Raul Mendoza. I think he's better, you know? So that's my thing, right? But the idea that people have that, like, oh, it's all about race, WWE's racist. There's no racism when it comes to money, motherfuckers. If Bobby Lashley was going to get more asses in seats, then he would get pushed, right? Simple as that. That being said, take care, Cucko.